The Walking Dead has made a lot of great decisions. It's also made a lot of poor decisions, and even sometimes it's made some goofy decisions. But nothing, and I mean nothing, is as goofy as the decisions that were made around Morales' character returning in Season 8 of The Walking Dead. And for those of you who need a quick refresher, let me break down a little bit. If you see me looking over, it's me just breaking down all of what we got for Morales in general. So in Season 1 of The Walking Dead, Morales was introduced as a member of the camp in Atlanta. He was literally just a member in Rick's initial survivor group. He was kind of a background character. He just happened to be there, always, giving the woohoos around Rick, things like that with his family. And quite frankly, he barely had a role. He was just a background survivor, just another blue shirt, red shirt, whatever you call those people. But the show did display him as a family man, and he had his wife, Miranda, and the 2 kids. And eventually, within the first season, when the group decided to leave Atlanta, Morales decided that he was going to part way from Rick's group and instead make the decision to go to Birmingham, Alabama to seek a safer place because they have family out there or something like that. But really, that marked the exit to his show. Now, mind you, that exit lasted 7 years. It's been 7 years! Like Morgan says, that was terrible. I can't believe I just did that on camera. But it was 7 years from when the show aired in 2010 to 2017 when Season 8 of The Walking Dead came around and we got to see Morales again. Now, look, in theory, there is nothing wrong with bringing back a character that we haven't seen in many years. Within an apocalyptic story, it actually makes a lot of sense that at some point in time, you'd stumble across these people. I mean, ultimately, in a dead world with not a lot of remaining survivors, and a lot of people in that world, specific regions are able to find each other pretty easily. I mean, Birmingham, Alabama, and Georgia, they're not close, or Virginia or whatever. They're not necessarily close, but they're not that far away in a dead world at the end of the day. So, with that being said, 7 years went by. 7 full years before we got to see him on screen. And in that time, there was a series of memes. There was a series of jokes out there just basically going over where people think Morales is and all that stuff. No one was serious. It was kind of like saying like Otto was the real hero of the story. Like you know what I mean? Like it's not really like that. Or I said Otto, I meant Otis. You know what I mean? Like it's not that serious. So everyone was making jokes online and blah, blah, blah. And I think The Walking Dead, AMC's The Walking Dead, found out about that and were like, what if we did bring Morales back? Well, that is exactly what happened, like I said, 7 years later, and we got the return of Morales. So after various leaks and teasers within the promotional material, it was eventually confirmed that Morales would be returning in Season 8 of The Walking Dead, which, I mean, certainly, if we're being realistic, there was certainly a bit of hype around that, because it was Morales. People who were making all those memes and people who were genuinely curious were excited to see where they were going to go with it. But also in the same vein, it felt like a playful joke as there were memes everywhere. But ultimately, it did lead to a lot of speculation within the fandom as to what would come within the story. Was it just going to be him showing up at me like, hey, Rick, I'm back with you guys? Was it going to be a saviors thing? No one knew. And I mean, I have to say, I think that partly added to all of the hype. Obviously, it wasn't the single catalyst that led to all the hype for Season 8 because All Out War is a big selling point. A fight with Negan that was phenomenal in the comics obviously was a big selling point, but also when you hear Morales is returning through teasers and leaks and blah, 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 and official confirmation down the road, yeah, that's another reason to get excited because it's like, oh my God, he's reuniting with someone from Season 1. And at this point in the story, the more thinning of the herd we have from these characters in Season 1, it's great to have that connective tissue back to kind of like tie it together. So there was ultimately a lot of excitement. And again, it wasn't the sole reason people were hyped for Season 8, but it did definitely, it did amalgamate to something. But all of that excitement finally paid off, quote unquote, when we saw him in season 8, episode 2's cliffhanger. The episode was titled The Damned. We saw him at the very end, basically just pointing a gun at Rick, like saying, hey, Rick, or whatever. I can't remember the exact little specifics of what it was. But let me just put this out there. The entire thing, all this buildup, this, we haven't seen him in 7 years, freaking thing, all of this for 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes of screen time, him just pointing a gun at Rick, and then Daryl walks in and shoots him instantly. So Daryl just literally comes in and just murks the dude after a 5-minute or so speech between him and Rick. And in that, might I add, it was an interesting dynamic to see that Morales joined the Saviors and became an integral part of their group, because what had essentially happened is Morales lost all of his family, and then eventually the Saviors found him and took him in, and they treated him really well, which is a testament to some of the arguments people say about the Saviors. That's a whole other thing. That's another topic for another video. But regardless, it was the cool thing about it, before I get into any of the goofy things about it, the cool thing was, we saw him 7 years prior, and when we finally got to see his return, we got to see the other side of the fold, where this was someone in Rick's circle who eventually went against Rick's circle and became on the opposition. And it was a really interesting dynamic that they never fully explored in The Walking Dead in general. And believe me, that garners an entirely separate video down the road. But we never really got to explore anything like it. So it was very interesting. And for the first few minutes of Morales coming back, it was very compelling to hear this whole thing where you have two people that were from the same camp that went totally different ways. And even though you could obviously argue that Morales was a good guy and Rick was the bad guy and vice versa, it's really interesting to see those two power dynamics at play and those two oppositions of thought at play. I'll give it that. I think that was a great idea. And it would have been a great idea if Daryl didn't just sprint like he was through the door behind me and murk him with a 360 no scope out of nowhere. Would have been a great idea, but no, of course we had to have that. I think that's absolutely ridiculous, but it's just insane. You didn't even have a chance to escalate or de-escalate the conversation. Immediately, Daryl just comes in and murks him. That's it. So essentially, just quickly to sum it up, we see him at the start of the apocalypse in the background, really, just with his wife and kids, and he reappears on Team Negan literally for less than 5 minutes after not seeing him for 7 years in our time. I'm not talking about in the show's time, but in our time. It's been 7 whole years since we got to see the character. And then Daryl just runs in and 360 no-scopes him out of nowhere. What a shame. Like, realistically, what a shame. There's so much that I think was wrong with this, such as like the lack of impact, missing potential, which I'm going to save that for a whole different video, a wasted setup, unnecessary cameo in general, and just convenience. It's too convenient. There was so much there that could have been that just wasn't. But ultimately, there was no impact. I mean, sure, it was interesting for 2 minutes, but then it completely changed as soon as Daryl killed him out of nowhere, and Rick was like, do you know who that was? And Daryl was like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, okay, but like, yeah, it kind of does, because that person could have turned into something very important to the story. So yeah, it felt very abrupt. And I know I'm not alone in that. I know a lot of fans felt like the buildup wasn't worth it at all, because it literally wasn't. The whole thing was just underwhelming. You market him coming back and you make it a selling point of your season in one way, shape, or form, only for him to be back for less than 5 minutes of screen time. And I understand that you don't want to pay him that much. Sure, I get it. You're not looking to bring in a new lead. You're probably just realistically just catering to the fans, but it was really cheap. And with that, there's so much missed potential. Again, I don't want to talk about it too much in this video. Be sure to look up here, because by the time the video's out, I'll put a link up here for it. But there was a lot of missing potential that we could have had. He could have filled roles within the story and also told new stories within the story. Not that I loved Morales or anything like that, but why reintroduce him to kill him? There was just so much you could have done, and I get it. It kind of was meant to show how ruthless they were on this path, but Still, you could have done that with anyone, literally anyone else. It's not even worth it to bring him back for this. Another thing is the wasted setup. His reappearance was teased, like I mentioned, in all of the promotional art and all of that stuff. Or not art, but all of the promotions and like leaks and blah, blah, blah. But it led to a lot of anticipation, and that story went nowhere. So it was just another thing that was on the list of things that were poor decisions within season 8 of The Walking Dead. And there's many of them. There's so many to count. It's not even funny. Another thing was it was an unnecessary cameo because you could have brought back other characters for flashbacks or something like that, or you just didn't have to bring them at all. But this one just served no real purpose beyond nostalgia. His character didn't add really anything to the plot whatsoever, and his death didn't affect the narrative in any meaningful way, really, despite, obviously him kind of showing Daryl and Rick that they're a little more ruthless, but you could have done that in a different way, like I said. And also it just felt too convenient. The timing of the return just felt a bit forced and contrived. It ain't it. It was not it. That's really it. I want to know what you have to think, what your thoughts are in general of Morales' return. Did you like it for the 5 minutes that was on screen? Did you hate it? Did you think it was goofy like me, where I personally think it was the goofiest decision the show ever made? I can't say it was bad. It definitely wasn't good. It was just weird. Like, why? I get fan service, I do, but there's a million ways you could get fan service, and this one wasn't it. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from you down there in the comments on how you feel about Morales' return in The Walking Dead and beyond. Not really and beyond, but seriously. I'd love to know down there. And with that out of the way, thank you again so much for watching this video, and until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Peace out.